This video is about she was his bonded mate, but she loved another. If this story captivates you, please like the video, share it with loved ones, and write in the comments how it touched your heart. The moon hung low in the sky, casting a silvery glow over the Cascade Woods. Its light illuminated a scene that was both beautiful and heart-wrenching. Ivy, an omega of a shadow moon pack, sat on the edge of a cliff, her heart heavy as she gazed at the stars. "Why does it feel like the universe is conspiring against us?" she whispered to the night, her breath a fog against the cooling air. Behind her, a rustle broke the tranquil silence. Rylan, the pack's formidable alpha, approached, his presence both commanding and comforting. But there was an undeniable tension between them, a chasm that had formed since the moment they discovered their bond. "Ivy," he began, his voice low and soothing, "you shouldn't be out here alone. The woods are dangerous at night." Turning slightly, she met his gaze, a mixture of warmth and sorrow swirling in her chest. "Rylan, it is not the woods I fear, it is everything else." He stepped closer, the space between them charged with an energy that was both electric and painful. "You're my mate, Ivy. Our bond is eternal. Why are you pushing me away?" "I didn't choose this," she said, pain lacing her words. "My heart belongs to someone else." Rylan flinched, his pride as an alpha wounded by her confession. "You love him, don't you? The rogue, the one we've been warned about." Ivy looked down, the weight of her truth almost unbearable. "I do, but it is not just love, it is something deeper." "Deeper? Or just reckless?" he challenged, anger simmering just below the surface. "You were risking everything for a fleeting fantasy." Her eyes burned with unspilled tears. "And what about us? Do you think I wanted to feel this way? And I wanted to be bound to someone who isn't in my heart?" Rylan turned away, fist clenching at his sides. "You think I wanted this, to claim you against your will? I would have given anything for you to feel the same. But I don't." Ivy cried out, desperation coloring her voice. Ivy tried to deny it, tried to push it away, but my heart belongs to Kieran. "Kieran," Rylan spat, the name like poison on his tongue. "He is a rogue, Ivy. He lives outside the law, outside the pack. You re-jeopardizing everything for him." "I can help how I feel," she shouted, her voice echoing in the vastness of the night. "With you, it is different. It feels like duty, but with Kieran, it feels like home." The air between them crackled with unspoken words, their bond pulling taut. Rylan's wolf surged beneath the skin, yearning to claim her, to protect her, but he also understood her longing. "Ivy," he said softly, his gaze flickering with vulnerability, "I would fight for you. I would fight him, but you have to choose." "Choosing means losing you," she whispered, her heart aching at the thought. "I don't want to hurt you, but I can deny my heart. I wish it were different." An agonizing silence fell, the weight of their choices pressing down on them. "Then maybe you should be with him," Rylan said, the words bitter on his tongue. "If he is the one who makes you feel alive, then I want to hold you back." Her eyes widened, shock and hurt mingling within her. "Rylan, please don't say that." "But it is the truth. I want you to be happy, even if it means shattering my own heart," he replied, the pain evident in his voice. With trembling hands, Ivy reached out, her fingers brushing against his, feeling the warmth of their bond, the undeniable pull between them. "I don't want to lose you." "And you want to," Rylan vowed, taking her hand firmly in his. "But you need to decide. Do you want a future with me, or will you chase after a dream that may never be?" Tears spilled from her eyes, the weight of fate crashing down upon her. "I don't know, Rylan. I wish I had the answers." As they stood together beneath the moonlight, a howl echoed through the woods, hauntingly beautiful yet filled with foreboding. It was Kieran, calling to her from the depths of the forest, a siren sound that pulled at her very soul. "Go," Rylan urged, his voice strained yet resolute. "You need to follow your heart." "I want to be the reason you stay if your heart belongs to him." "I can leave you like this," Ivy protested, her heart torn in two. "Sometimes love means letting go," he whispered, the flicker of hope in his gaze dimming. "You deserve to know the truth of your feelings." With a choked sob, Ivy withdrew her hand, the loss of his warmth enveloping her in a chilling emptiness. She turned to the sound of Kieran's howl, the rogue's call echoing through the night, a reminder of the passion and danger that awaited her. "I'll never forget you," Rylan said, his voice barely a whisper, but it felt like a promise, a silent vow that would haunt her either way. As she stepped back, the wind carried his scent away, and she felt the bond between them strain, like a thread stretched to its limit. It was heart-wrenching, a violent pull between loyalty and love, between her pack and her heart. The shadows of the trees seemed to whisper around her, urging her forward as Ivy took a deep breath, steeling herself for what lay ahead. She was the Omega, But she was also a woman being pulled toward forbidden love, and as she entered the darkness of the woods, she felt every ounce of her destiny pulling her closer to Kieran. Ivy followed the sound of Kieran's voice, each step igniting a fire within her. She knew the risks of loving a rogue, her pack had warned her countless times. But the thrill of the unknown beckoned her forward, a risk worth taking. When she found him beneath the canopy of stars, he stood tall and fierce, an enigma wrapped in shadows. His piercing blue eyes locked onto hers, igniting something deep within her. "Ivy," he breathed, a smile breaking across his handsome face. "You've come." "I had to," she replied, breathless and alive. "I can't ignore what I feel." Kieran stepped closer, his presence enveloping her in warmth. "Then let us not waste another moment. You know we were meant to be together." "I am Steve, Kieran. Rylan, he is my alpha, my mate." "Then let us break the chains that bind you," Kieran said fiercely, his resolve igniting a fire within her. "Together we can carve our own path." As Ivy stared into his eyes, she felt that familiar pull, the magnetic bond that promised adventure, danger, and a love that could set her free. But with the thrill of that love came the weight of her choices, her identity, her pack, and the bond she'd been given. And as the moonlight glimmered down upon them, Ivy stood at the precipice of destiny, torn between the alpha who claimed her and the rogue who set her spirit ablaze. The night held its breath, waiting for her next move, for the saga of love and betrayal to unfold beneath the stars. The haunting echo of Kieran's howl still reverberated in Ivy's ears, a siren call that promised freedom and passion. As she stood before him, the world around her faded, leaving only the two of them suspended in a moment of electrifying possibility. "Ivy," Kieran murmured, his voice low and alluring, drawing her closer with every syllable. "You don't have to go back to him. You're more than an mater, you're my mate." She shook her head, uncertainty flooding her veins. "But Rylan, he is my alpha. I've known him my whole life. To turn my back on him, on my pack, it's unforgivable." Kieran reached out, his fingers grazing her cheek, igniting a spark that coursed through her. "What about your heart? Can you truly deny what we have? The bond we share is real, Ivy. That's not just a fleeting fantasy." Her breath hitched as she leaned into his touch, torn between the loyalty that had been instilled in her and the fiery passion that Kieran ignited in her soul. "But it's dangerous. If the pack finds out, they will never accept you. They won't accept me." "Then let them try," he said defiantly, his gaze fierce and unwavering. "Together, we can face whatever comes. We'll forge a new path, one where we can be free." Ivy's heart raced at his words, the promise of a life unbound filling her with a rush of exhilaration. But doubt whispered in the back of her mind, a nagging reminder of the consequences. "I don't want anyone to get hurt. Rylan, he is not just my alpha, he is my friend. I can't betray him." "Is it betrayal to follow your heart?" Kieran questioned, his brow furrowing with concern. "Are you willing to sacrifice your happiness to appease someone else's expectations?" Her heart ached at the thought. She wanted to scream, to rage against the cruel twist of fate that had bound her to Rylan yet had pulled her toward Kieran with an unrelenting force. "I just don't know, Kieran." For a moment, silence hung heavy between them, the weight of their choices pressing down on Ivy like a stone. Then, Kieran stepped closer, his voice dropping to a whisper, filled with longing and urgency. "Then let me show you, Ivy. Let me show you what it means to be truly free." Without waiting for her response, he leaned in, capturing her lips with his, and the world around them ignited into a whirlwind of sensations. Every doubt, every fear melted away beneath the heat of his kiss, and in that moment she surrendered to the pull of her desires, losing herself in the depths of him. But even as she kissed him back, a part of her screamed in protest. Rylan's face flashed in her mind, his hurt, his struggle. She broke away, panting, heart racing, and looked into Kieran's eyes, feeling as if she were caught in a tempest. "I can't do this," she gasped, shaking her head as if to shake off the intoxicating spell. "I can't betray Rylan. This isn't too fair." "Life is not fair," Kieran replied, his expression fierce yet tender. "But we can make it right. We can create our own fate. I love you, Ivy." His confession crashed into her like a wave, leaving her breathless. "You love me? But what about the risks, the pack?" "The pack can dictate who you are or who you love," Kieran said, his voice resolute. "I want to let them take you away from me. I'll fight for you." Ivy felt a flutter of hope blossom in her chest. "But Rylan, he would never forgive me. He would see this as treachery." "Then let him see it that way," Kieran growled, the fire in his eyes unwavering. "What matters is us, Ivy. You deserve to live your truth." Her heart raced at the thought of a life with Kieran, of chasing the wild dreams that danced in her mind. But a shadow of fear crept in, darkening the edges of her excitement. What if I am wrong? What if I am just chasing a fantasy? Then let me show you that fantasy can be real, Kieran insisted, his intensity pulling her in. Let us create a world where we can be together, where we can be free. It was a reckless promise, one that resonated deep within her. And yet the spectre of Rylan loomed larger than ever, a painful reminder of the cost of choice. I need time, Kieran, I need to think. I'll give you time, Kieran said, his voice softening. But don't take too long. We have a destiny to fulfill, one that awaits us beyond the woods. As Ivy nodded, torn between the magnetic pull of Kieran's love and the loyalty she owed to Rylan, tension wrapped around her heart. She needed to confront her own feelings to unearth the truth buried beneath the layers of fear and obligation. Later that night, as she lay under the moonlit sky, thoughts of Rylan flooded her mind, juxtaposed against Kieran's fiery spirit. If only there were a way to intertwine both worlds without causing pain. But destiny is a fickle mistress. The next day, as the sun peeked over the horizon, Ivy made her way back to the Shadowman Pack's territory, heart pounding in her chest. She knew she had to face Rylan, to confront the bond between them, once and for all. When she reached the Pack's clearing, she found Rylan training with several of the younger wolves. His strong form moved with effortless grace, an embodiment of power. But when he spotted her, his expression shifted, worrious in his features. Ivy, he called, his voice tinged with concern. I was worried about you. I had to think, she admitted, stepping forward, her heart racing with every beat. Ivy made a decision. Rylan's brow furrowed, a flicker of hope igniting in his eyes. About us? I can't deny the bond we share, she began, her throat tight as she struggled to find the right words. But my heart is torn in two. His face clouded with confusion, hurt blossoming across his features. What do you mean? You read my mate, Ivy. We belong together. But what if my heart belongs to someone else? She whispered, the words cutting through the air like a knife. Kieran, he makes me feel alive in a way that I can't ignore. The pain that flickered in Rylan's gaze was palpable, a wound laid bare for her to see. You love him? She nodded, tears pooling in her eyes. I do, Rylan. I never wanted to hurt you, but I can't pretend anymore. He took a step back, the space between them growing. You're willing to choose him over me, over our bond? The accusation hung heavy in the air, a painful reminder of what they could have been. I don't want to choose, she cried, desperation lacing her voice. I just want to be true to myself, Rylan. His expression hardened, the pain morphing into something darker. You think this is about choice, you breaking the very foundation of our pack. I care about the pack, she protested, anger sparking within her. But I can't sacrifice my happiness for it. The tension crackled between them like lightning, and Ivy stood at the precipice of heartbreak. I never wanted this, Rylan. I wanted it to be different. Then fight for it, he urged, his voice rising. Fight for us, you owe it to yourself, to me, to our bond. You making a mistake, Ivy. Tears threatened to spill over as she shook her head. I can't force myself to feel something that isn't there. I have to follow my heart. Rylan's eyes darkened, his wolf roaring beneath the surface. You're choosing a rogue over your pack. You're choosing betrayal. I am choosing love, she countered, her voice firm yet trembling. Love is not betrayal, Rylan. It is what we all crave. You'll regret this, Ivy, he warned, his voice low and grave. You'll come to realize that he will never be one of us. He'll never understand the bond we share. And what if I realize I want more than just a bond based on duty, she cried, her heart aching. What if Kieran is what I truly need? The silence that followed was thick with unresolved tension. Rylan's gaze bore into her, searching for the truth, but all she felt was the pain of letting go. You're making a mistake, he repeated, his voice almost a whisper, filled with sorrow. You don't know what lies ahead. I have to find out, Ivy replied, her heart breaking as she took a step back. I can stay here, Rylan, not when my heart calls me elsewhere. As she turned to leave, she felt the weight of their bond slipping through her fingers, a fragile thread unraveling in the face of her decision. Each step away felt heavier, the ache of loss echoing behind her like a distant howl. In the depths of her heart, as Ivy descended the path leading away from the Shadowman Pack's territory, the weight of her decision bore down on her like a storm cloud. Each step further from Rylan felt like a stab to her heart, yet the call of Kieran's love echoed in the depths of her soul, urging her onward. The night air was thick with anticipation, and the moon hung high, a solitary sentinel watching over the choices she had made. Ivy paused, clutching her arms around herself as if the cold could freeze her doubts. What had she done? She had torn apart the fabric of their bond, the sacred promise that should have united her with Rylan and the pack. Yet, as she drew closer to the woods where Kieran awaited, her heart surged with a mix of fear and exhilaration. Ivy. Kieran's voice laced through the silence, soothing her frayed nerves. He emerged from the shadows, every inch the rogue she had been drawn to, the untamed spirit that made her feel alive. I came, she said breathlessly, feeling the electrifying pull between them. I thought about everything about us. Kieran's eyes gleamed in the moonlight, his expression hopeful yet cautious. And? I love you, Kieran. The admission slipped from her lips, freeing her from the weight of guilt that had shackled her. But I also loved Rylan, and now I feel like I've shattered something important. He stepped closer, closing the distance, his warmth emanating like a beacon. You were bound to him by fate, yes, but destinies can be rewritten, Ivy. You deserve to be with the one who makes your heart sing, not simply the one who claims you. But what if I am wrong? She whispered, doubt lacing her voice. What if this is just a fantasy? What if I lose everything? Sometimes, to find our truth, we must risk losing what we think we know, Kieran replied, his gaze steady and unwavering. The heart knows its own path, Ivy, trust it. The weight of his words settled over her like a shroud, igniting a fire within her. I want to believe that, she murmured, feeling the pull of destiny tugging her closer to him. But what if the pack rejects me? What if Rylan never forgives me? With a fierce tenderness, Kieran cupped her face in his hands. They may not understand at first, but if you follow your heart, you'll find a way to show them. You are meant for greatness, Ivy. Don't forget that. As he leaned in, capturing her lips once again in a passionate kiss, Ivy felt the thrill of danger and desire course through her. In this moment, the world faded away. But as they broke apart, reality crashed back in. She was still entangled in a web of choices that could lead to devastation. I need to tell Rylan, she said suddenly, fear tinged with determination. I can't keep running. I have to face him. Kieran's expression darkened, shadows of uncertainty on his handsome face. Are you sure you don't owe him an explanation? I do owe him that much, she insisted, her heart pounding. He deserves to know why I chose you. Kieran nodded, though his eyes flickered with concern. Just be careful, Ivy. I don't want to see you hurt. As she turned to leave, doubt crept back into her mind. Would this confrontation end in chaos or clarity? Ivy steeled herself, knowing she had to face Rylan once more to confront the bond that had once felt unbreakable. The moon hung high like a watchful guardian as she retraced her steps toward the pack clearing. Her heart raced with each stride, torn between the duality of her choices. When she arrived, Rylan stood amidst the clearing, his posture rigid, a storm brewing in his eyes. Ivy, he called, his voice echoing with a mix of anger and hurt. You came back. I had to, she replied, swallowing the lump in her throat. I need to talk to you. Talk. He scoffed, his voice thick with pain. What more is there to say? You chose him. I didn't choose him lightly, she countered, stepping closer. This isn't an easy decision for me. Rylan's gaze flashed with confusion before hardening. Then why are you here? To hurt me more? I am here to explain, she said, her voice trembling with emotion. To tell you how I feel. Spare me your excuses, he interrupted, his voice rising. You made your choice, Ivy. You rejected everything we had for some fantasy with a rogue. Tears welled in her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. It is not just a fantasy, it is love, Rylan, something I can't ignore. Love, he spat, his anger palpable. You think you know what love is, you playing a dangerous game, Ivy. Kieran is a rogue, he doesn't understand our ways, our loyalties. You don't get to decide who I love, she shouted back, the rawness of her feelings spilling over. I can't lie my life for you or for the pack. I want to be true to myself. His expression shifted, pain mingling with disbelief. So, you'll throw away everything we've built? You think he can offer you something I cannot? I don't know, she admitted, her voice breaking. But I have to find out. I have to know what my heart truly wants. Your heart is foolish, Rylan growled, his wolf seething beneath the surface. I will not let you ruin your future for a rogue who plays by no rules. Rylan, please, she pleaded, stepping closer, desperate to break through the wall of anger between them. You are my alpha, my friend, but my heart can only hold so much. His eyes softened for a moment, vulnerability flickering beneath his fierce exterior. And what about the bond we share? Was it all just a lie? No, it was real. It is real, she insisted, anguish flooding her voice. But it doesn't mean I can also feel something else deeply. A tense silence stretched between them, the air thick with unresolved emotions. Rylan paced, his frustration palpable, while Ivy fought against the tide of her own heartache. "You're breaking my heart, Ivy," he finally said, his voice ragged. "You're breaking our bond. I never wanted to hurt you." She reached out, longing to touch him to comfort him, but he recoiled as if burned. "You have to understand this is something I must do for myself." He met her gaze, his expression shifting to one of sorrow and acceptance. "Then go to him, but know that you will never find peace here again." Tears spilled over, and Ivy took a shuddering breath, the gravity of her choice crashing down on her. "I understand. I wish things could be different." "Then why don't you make them different?" Rylan's voice trembled with suppressed emotion. "Fight for what we were, Ivy. Fight for us." "I can tell," she said, her heart aching. "I have to follow my heart, even if it leads me away from you." They stood there, two souls on the brink of irrevocable loss, the bond that once pulsed brightly now dimmed to a flickering shadow. "Then leave," Ryland said, his voice a low growl, "and never come back." With a broken heart, Ivy turned away, each step away from him a searing reminder of what she'd lost. As she entered the woods, shadows surrounded her, whispering echoes of a past now just out of reach. The forest was alive with its own heartbeat, a stark contrast to the hollow ache in her chest. She needed Kieran, needed to feel the flames of his passion envelop her, but the memory of Rylan and their bond lingered like a ghost. When she finally reached their secluded spot, Kieran awaited her beneath the moonlight, the embodiment of wild freedom. "Ivy," he breathed, his eyes lighting up at the sight of her. "You're back." "I had to tell him," she said, her voice tinged with sorrow. "I had to face him." Kieran stepped closer, concern etching his features. "And how did it go?" "It shattered me," she admitted, pain lacing her words. "I never wanted to hurt Rylan, but I couldn't deny my heart any longer." "Then you made the right choice," Kieran said, a fierce determination in his gaze. "You deserve to be happy, Ivy. You're free now." "I am free but broken," she confessed, feeling the weight of her heartache. "I lost my Alpha, my friend, my home." Kieran wrapped his arms around her, holding her close as she surrendered to the warmth of his embrace. "We'll create a new home together, I promise. I'll never let you go." As Ivy melted into his embrace, the pain of her choices began to ease, replaced by the thrill of possibility. As Ivy settled against Kieran's warmth, the lingering ache of her choices began to ebb, replaced by a burgeoning hope. But as she gazed into the depths of his vibrant blue eyes, doubts loomed like storm clouds over the horizon. "Are you really okay with this?" Ivy asked softly, breaking the comfortable silence that cocooned them. "With me choosing you over Rylan?" Kieran tightened his hold, his voice firm yet tender. "I am not okay with anything less than your happiness, Ivy. If that means facing Rylan and the pack, then so be it. You're worth the fight. But they won't accept you. They see you as a rogue, as a threat." She voiced her fears, her heart pounding with the weight of potential conflict. "Then let them try," he replied, his eyes flashing with unwavering determination. "I'll prove myself. I'll show them that love is worth the risk, that we can be more than just the labels they place upon us." Ivy felt her heart swell at his confidence, yet a shadow of guilt lingered in the corners of her mind. "I just hurt him so badly. He was my Alpha, my friend. I broke something sacred." Kieran brushed a stray hair behind her ear, his gaze steady. "You didn't break anything, Ivy. You were true to yourself, and that is what matters. Rylan will come to understand that one day. You have to believe that." The reassurance of his words brought her some comfort, but as she lay against him, a knot of anxiety twisted in her stomach. "But what if he doesn't? What if he sees me as a traitor for loving you?" Kieran's expression softened. "Then I will be the rogue who stands by your side, ready to defend what we have. We are stronger than the chains of tradition, Ivy." "But at what cost?" she whispered, feeling the weight of the world on her shoulders. "What if our love leads to war?" "Then we will fight for it," he said, his voice a low growl filled with conviction. "The world is not kind to love that defies its expectations, but it is worth fighting for as long as we have each other." With every word, Ivy felt her resolve strengthen. Kieran's passion ignited something within her, a yearning for a life unshackled by fear and obligation. "I want to fight for us," she admitted, her voice trembling with emotion. "I just have to face Rylan one last time." Kieran nodded, understanding the weight of her decision. "Then we'll face him together, but promise me, Ivy, that you'll stand firm in your heart. Don't let his anger sway you." As the moon dipped lower in the sky, Ivy felt the urgency of the situation. With a deep breath, she pulled away from Kieran, determination shining in her eyes. "Let us go. I need to make this right." With Kieran by her side, they ventured back toward the Shadow Moon Pack's territory, the shadows of the trees whispering secrets of the past as they walked. The closer they got, the more Ivy's heart raced, uncertainty coursing through her veins like wildfire. When they reached the clearing, the pack was gathered, their murmurs hushed as they spotted Ivy and Kieran. Rylan stood at the center, his expression a mixture of sorrow and fury. The air crackled with tension, and Ivy felt a dread settle in her stomach. "Ivy," Rylan called, his voice echoing through the clearing. "You've come back to betray us again." "I am not here to betray anyone, Rylan," Ivy said, stepping forward while Kieran remained slightly behind her, a silent guardian ready to protect her. "I came to explain to make you understand." Rylan's gaze narrowed, his shoulders tense. "Explain what? That you chose a rogue over your own pack, over me?" The accusation hung heavily in the air, the hurt behind his words piercing Ivy's heart. "No, Rylan, it is more complicated than that. I didn't teach you lightly." "Complicated?" Rylan spat, the pain in his voice evident. "You call it complicated, and yet you throw everything we built away for him." "Rylan, please," Ivy pleaded, stepping closer, desperation lacing her voice. "I love you, and I always will, but my heart is not only bound to you, I also love Kieran." A collective gasp rippled through the pack, and Ivy felt the weight of their gazes upon her, judgment and disbelief etched into their faces. She squared her shoulders, refusing to back down. "You love him?" Rylan's voice was a low growl, fury igniting in his eyes. "You're willing to risk everything for someone who doesn't belong here?" "He belongs with me," Ivy declared, her heart racing as she felt Kieran's presence solidify beside her, a steady anchor against the storm that brewed between them. "Do you think I want this?" Rylan challenged, his voice rising. "You were meant to be with me. We were destined, Ivy." "Destiny can be rewritten," Kieran interjected, stepping forward, a fierce protectiveness radiating from him. "Love is not bound by fate or bloodlines that transcends them." Rylan's eyes blazed with defiance, his wolf surging beneath the surface. "You dare speak here as if you have a claim on her. You are nothing but an outsider." "And yet Ivy chose me," Kieran retorted, his voice steady, unyielding. "She chose love over obligation, and that takes more courage than you know." "Love?" Rylan spat, disgust clear in his tone. "What you feel is nothing more than a fantasy, a reckless desire that will only lead to your downfall." "You don't know what we share," Ivy shouted, her heart breaking at the hurt in Rylan's eyes. "You only see what you want to see. Kieran makes me feel alive in a way I never felt before." Rylan's expression faltered, pain flickering in his gaze. "And I am supposed to be okay with that? You re-breaking our bond, Ivy, you re-breaking me." Tears spilled down her cheeks, the rawness of the moment cutting deep. "I never wanted to hurt you, Rylan. I loved our bond, but I can't ignore my heart. I need to follow my own path, and Kieran is a part of that." "You're re-choosing the road of betrayal," he warned, his voice a low, dangerous growl. "You'll never find peace in that choice." The pack murmured in agreement, the weight of their gazes heavy with disapproval. But Ivy stood firm, her heart pounding with conviction. "I would rather fight for what I love than live a life dictated by fear." "Then you a fool," Rylan hissed, his eyes darkening. "And fools don't deserve to lead, Ivy." "Maybe I don't want to lead," she said, her voice breaking with emotion. "Maybe I just want to live freely, to love freely." "Then go," he said coldly, his voice a harsh whisper. "Go to him, and don't look back, you'll regret it." Each word sliced through her like a dagger, and Ivy felt the world spinning around her. She longed to run to him, to fall into his arms and escape the pain that hung between them. But the weight of her choices bore down heavily. "Rylan," she said, desperation flooding her voice. "I don't want this to be the end. I want you to understand." "Understand what? That you chose him over your family? Over your pack?" he scoffed, his voice tinged with bitterness. "You are not just abandoning me, you are abandoning your entire future." With tears streaming down her face, Ivy stepped back, sensing the finality of the moment. "It is not abandonment, Rylan. It is freedom. I need to find my own way to embrace who I truly am." "You will be lost without the pack," he warned, his voice tightly controlled, but the pain in his eyes betrayed his facade. "You want to survive out there alone." "I want to be alone," she whispered, glancing at Kieran, who stood with unwavering support. "I'll have Kieran. He believes in me when I can't believe in myself." Rylan's eyes flickered with something akin to sorrow. "You think he can protect you? That he can give you what we had?" "I know he can," Ivy replied, her heart racing. "And I need to find out for myself. I can light a light, Rylan." "Then go," he said, his voice distant as if he were pulling away from her. "But know that you're remaking the biggest mistake of your life." With those final words hanging in the air, Rylan turned away, his back facing her, a powerful figure now broken. Ivy's heart shattered further, knowing the cost of her choice was far greater than she had ever imagined. As she looked back at Kieran, she felt a surge of resolve. "I am ready," she said, her voice steady despite the tears in her eyes. "I am ready to face whatever comes next." Kieran stepped forward, his hand finding hers, intertwining their fingers. Together, he vowed, his voice a soothing balm against her aching heart, "We'll all face whatever storm lies ahead. With one